Hello everyone and welcome to my new series of tutorial for my Patreon page here. In this one called Corona for Cinema 4D Basics, we will learn what is needed to know when you first open Cinema 4D and Corona renderer for it. Know that this time I won't be talking about Cinema 4D basics, only those that are connected with Corona render, so probably you should have some Cinema 4D experience before we continue. And you have a lot of tutorials online, a lot of cool guys making a nice tutorial about it, but this one is just the basics for the Cinema 4D and Corona. And in the first day, as you find out, oh cool, there is this Corona renderer and it's being developed for the Cinema 4D, you will come here and use these steps to successfully start working with it. So just go ahead and type in corona render.com, and you can see here you have some latest news, forum topics, and right here on the top you have these buttons. There is some pretty neat resources or also getting started, which is really helpful, and other stuff, but for this tutorial I will just go directly to download Corona, and right here you have the installers. First is the official version for the 3ds Max, which is a paid version. So if you're using 3ds Max, you go here and download this. But what's in our interest is this one, Cinema 4D, and it says Corona render for Cinema 4D. And as it is in development, still it is marked as beta 1. So it is still, as I said, in development phase, but the guys are working hard, and thanks for that, guys. And you can see here two buttons. If you're using Windows, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're using Mac, you can go here. You have here all the supported versions, and it says it's free to use even for commercial projects. So you just click there, you get a installation file, and you go right there and install it. So I won't go there. It's just installing as all the regular software, but as I said, it's still in development, so there is also pretty nice thing here. As you go back to homepage and scroll down, you have this Corona forum button, and you go there. You need to set up your account, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you have Corona for Cinema 4D board, and in this section you get general and also feature request and all the stuff. Also you have here in general categories some nice subject. You will find a lot of nice resources and tutorials, so you can go there and check it if you want. But this time we are interested in this one. It says Corona for Cinema 4D daily builds, and you will find there few subjects. This one was opened until the beta 1 was officially announced, and it's daily build with a lot of versions that all the guys that using Corona tested and left their comments and reported the bugs and helped the developers to find a nice version. And right here you have beta 2 daily build. So when you go inside it, You will find the date when it came out, and inside below it you can see its everything that is included in this version, and a lot of fixed crashes and everything. But you must be careful when using this one. It's not ready for production yet, so you probably wouldn't be able to use it on your in your daily workflow, as you can experience some crashes, bugs and everything. So especially as this is the first post about it, so later on it will become stable, but right now you can just install it to try some stuff like skin material or all this other stuff that are aided. But if you are a beginner, you don't want to do that. Later on, if they when they put here a more stable version, I might use it, and you can always go here and download it to see how it's working. So once you've seen that, let's go ahead and go to Cinema 4D. Okay, so once you are here and you have installed this Corona, you will have this nice button here where if you click you get a drop down menu. But first thing you need to do here is when you open, you will probably have something like this, and the thing is you will need to change this to Corona. So in drop down menu I have all the other renders I use, but right here we will need Corona render. So once you do that, you will be already one step closer to make a nice render. So after that you can just click on the X button, and right now you are in working in Corona environment. So for the next step, as you can see, I will just go and go to Corona tab, and we will use Corona VFB. So if you open this one and drag it right here and you push render, you can see there is nothing visible here. So what's going on? It's that we don't have any object in here. So what will you do? You will go ahead and add a cube, but rarely people use cube when they get in the new software. It's always a sphere. So once you have the sphere, you can again then go and click on Corona and then go to rendering. So you can still see there is nothing. So what do you need to do? In order to see anything inside of this, you will need to go and put Corona light. Once you set up this, and let's drag it up here so we see it, and then again we will go here and click render. Right now you can see that we have something visible. So what's going on? This light is not shining that much on our object, but as you can see now in the viewport, it is rotated to another side. So if we just make 90 degrees rotation and we go back to this position we already had and press the render, right now you can see we have our sphere and our light rendering, and it's not the most beautiful render you ever did, but it's a start. So if we stop, we can see the denoising is running. We will talk about it later. So once you got there, you will see it's really annoying to go all the time in this Corona VFB. So what we want firstly to go to preferences, and if we open them, you can see here that you have right here a Corona preferences. So you have a lot of options here. We will talk about that later, but what is really important for you, this will be your default. So you will need to enable Corona VFB and as default frame buffer. So once you do that and you go out, if you render to picture viewer, or you put you click the shortcut, the shift plus letter R on your keyboard, right then the Corona frame buffer will automatically be opened and you will get this. Okay, so next step that I like to do here is, instead of going to Corona and sky, sun and all this each time, I like to set my Cinema 4D to have all these right after I open a scene. So what you can do is easily go to Windows, Customization, and then go to Customize Palettes, and inside here you can write Corona and just drag and drop the items. So you can see here I have my camera, my light, my sky, my sun, which will go here. I will put to the right side this frame buffer. I will also use Corona tools, which you can find online, that will translate your materials. We'll talk about it later. And also you multipass, this one belongs to Corona, so it will also be on the right side. So when you push X once again, it will disappear the blue rectangle that you have around it, and right now if you put right here, or you add sun, sky and all this that we'll add later, you can see it is automatically here. If you made mistakes, let's go again, and this you just double click and it will delete, and then again go and put the sun that we deleted right now. Let's see, is there anything more? And you can see there is. It is interactive rendering. It's the most beautiful thing that came with the beta 1. So what is that? For using that, I will just go to settings and I will change the output to be something like 800 by 800. And right now we will go ahead and do this. We will just set interactive rendering to be also here. So let's go fast and type in, interactive rendering. We already have it here. So I will put it on the right side. So right here you have some settings, and you can here have some objects that you will add for your everyday use of the Corona. So if you push the interactive rendering right here, you can go ahead and you can even resize it. It will later be able to resize itself when you hit this, but for now you can just go ahead and resize it as you want, and also remove the tool so we have a little more space right here. Hopefully they will soon implement that you can stack this one somewhere in the viewport so you can use it together without do this. If you have two monitors, you can easily put it on their side while you're working, but for this purpose I will have to put it here. So let's put it right here. So what is interactive rendering doing? You will see in 1 second. As I move this light to the one side or another, you can see there is a real-time preview, which is really beautiful and important, as you can then work with materials and with lighting. So in the same time you can see in the real time right here what is happening. So you can choose, okay, I want that light right here, just move it down, okay, but I don't want it to be this intensity, I will want to decrease it, and maybe we want the color to be something like green. Okay, you can see already it is done there. So if we go back, it's okay for that. One thing also you want to look at if you want to do stuff with interactive rendering is again to go to render settings, go to Corona, and inside performance you want to have maximum passes. So as you can see right now our rendering pass is over 240 at the moment, and if you put this something like 30, it will render until it hits 30 and it's okay. So now it will stop. So that could be helpful if you're using a big scene with a lot of objects, and this interactive rendering can sometimes slow down or use a lot of your CPU power. So you sometimes just put it down and forget it, and it's running in the background. So it's better to set it to somewhere around 30, because on 30 passes you will already have a nice preview for materials and for the lighting, so you can work with it. So right now when we change camera angle or anything, again it will start from 1 to 30, then stop, and again go back. So that's pretty nice feature. And another thing that I like to do is tick the force path tracing, because if we don't do that, you can see it's our GI solver is set to UHD cache. So in this way we can go here and put a path tracing, but I will talk about these settings on the other parts of this series, not now. But path tracing is a little faster because it don't pre-compute. So you put this here and you will assure you have really almost real-time stuff here without much compromising with the quality. So it is really important thing to know how to use interactive rendering. There is not much to know, but it's good to know that it is there and that you can use it, and especially when they implement all the other stuff that could be helpful. So we can put it let's say right here, so we don't have to move it all the time and to another monitor or anything. So this is a really nice feature, and once again if we just hit X, it will stop. So you know it won't be running in the background if we close it. Before we jump into this other stuff that could be the most interesting part when we come in the first day in Corona for Cinema 4D. I would like just to talk about some basic settings. We will have later on a separate tutorial for all the other stuff that you can find, but in this one I will talk about these three progressive rendering limits you can set, and also I will just say a few sentences about denoise for this first part. So what is the pass limit? As we have seen right here, if we go render to picture viewer, which will open Corona frame buffer right now, you can see it will render passes infinitely. So there is nothing that we decided and tell Corona, okay, when you hit the pass limit, the time limit, or noise level limit, you should stop. So it doesn't know when to stop, and it will render infinitely till the end of your computer life, or your electricity life, or your life. So we can go right here and select stop. So we want to here to enter something. So if we put number 1 and go again, and you can see it did the one pass and then stopped. So right here you can see it in the stats. There is no time because it didn't use even a second for this, and you can see what is under performance. You have passes total 1, so all the other stuff are not relevant for us. And if you go put something like 10 for this, and you go render again, and you can see it did render in 2 seconds our 10 passes, and our noise level is pretty neat. We already have a almost without noise picture, but for the more complex stuff you will need to increase this. So it's the best that you use this passes limit for your previews and everything. It is the same as this one for the interactive rendering. You should note for the interactive rendering in the settings that are preferences, sorry, that are right here, that one thread is not being used by the interactive rendering, so it does not use all your compute power, so you don't have lags for the viewport or anything else. So the real rendering will always be faster a little bit. You can also put there a 0 or more if you need more cores or more threads for your work. But it is the same as this. If you put this to 0 and you put the time limit to 5 seconds, let's say, and let's go, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop, and it will stop after the 5 seconds of rendering, which is here. We have 34 passes, so you can see it is the same as we put 34 passes, sorry. But if we put 5 seconds and let's say 20 passes, what will happen? It will render and it will stop when it hit the first. So if it hit first 20 passes before 5 seconds, it will stop there. And also with the noise level limit that I will talk later, it's the same situation. So right here you have this pass limit and the time limit. So whichever comes first, Corona will use that. And if we set this one to 0, it will use time limit, and vice versa. So this is pretty much okay, but the most of the time I use this time limit only if the client call and say, hey, I want some image in 30 minutes from now because I have the meeting, and I don't care if it's a little bit noisy or anything. So I go right here, put 30 minutes, render, and when it finishes, I send it to him. So that's the only time when I use the time limit. So we will now talk about noise level limits. So what is that? As you can see in our stats, there is noise level, and it's the best way to tell Corona when to stop if you want a final image. So if you put a level limit to, let's say, 4%, we will go and render this. And when it hits somewhere near 4%, as you can see, it's pretty much clean. Let's just for the sake of this tutorial, let's go and increase this light and remove this, and maybe make another one from the other side. Okay, a little bit from the back, it's okay. And we will set the time limit to 10. We will just increase a bit our output. So let's say, okay, let's say this, and go quickly, render it, and go ahead. And let's go back to this to see exactly what we did. So as you can see, the noise level limit is now 10. And sometimes if it's really fast, we can go around here, and you can see it did us at 5. So what happened here, it happened so fast that the noise was cleaning that it wasn't able to stop there at low noise level limit 10. But let's go and put the 20 there. So you can see now it's stuck at 12. So you can see we have a noise. What is good, you can go to Windows, the picture viewer, and right here you can see it's a good example. So if we put A to B comparison, and let's say this A, this is our B, and you can see right here. So you can see the noise right on the this part of the sphere. So what happened there is there is 12% of the noise right here. So you said to Corona, okay, just stop when you get that threshold of the noise. So for the clean image, you will need to go to say something like 6. So it will clean your image for sure. And the larger, I found out the larger the resolution is, you can increase this noise level limits. So right here you have 6, but you have also this noise, which is not that desirable. So what you can do, that it's another really nice Corona feature, is the denoising. You can go to full denoising, and then you have the noise amount. This default one is working pretty nice, so you can go around, start rendering, and wait, and you can see it is denoised at this level, but we still don't see anything. That's because in the denoising there is, let's see what happened here. Why is not denoising? Oh, this is the noise amount is 0. We somehow put it to 0. Let's go ahead and 0.6. will go fine. So as you can see, this is our 0 and this is 0.6. So as you can see, it did remove our noise. So instead of we wait for the image to clean to, let's say, noise level limit 2, which can really be a huge difference when you have interior scene or complex scene. It may take hours. This noise 0.6 will work just fine. So these are some basic stuff you will need to know before you go to camera, lighting, and all the other stuff that I will talk in the part 2 that is coming on my Patreon page for my patrons. So go ahead and take a look there, and you can find some nice stuff. I'm just going into it, so you can find a really nice stuff right here, and I have a Trello board and some free stuff that you can pick up and decide you want to pledge some money to learn all the stuff or you don't. See you in the second part.